Now,
Thank you.
this is one of the first times I've seen you really adventure into the world of animation. What is your history with animation? Were you a big cartoon fan growing up?
I am sort of I'm not like a crazy cartoon person. My sister and I came up with this idea together, and she was a huge South Park fanatic growing up. I think I was a little bit more drawn to, I guess, a little bit more whimsical stuff, and I mean, I'm not an enormous hyper fan per se, but I really like the style of Steven Universe.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I really like that style of drawing. I like. I've always gravitated toward like things that have a little bit more of a whimsical appeal, like that, or like the Powerpuff Girls, or like these Samurai Jack, like these shows that have very like distinct animation styles. But yeah, I mean, in terms of animation, I guess I'm just, I'm a big fan of like The Simpsons and these shows that really take advantage of the women, the sort of fantastical nature of animation that let you play with the story. That's the most fun part of writing something like this. And that's certainly something that I appreciated about cartoons growing up, but especially something like The Simpsons for sure.
well, you talk about the freedom that this gave you a little bit. Did you like the getting to do, were you able to do more with animation? Were you like, I could write whatever the hell I want into this weird ass script because you guys can animate it?
Yeah, that's the thing, is like I've mostly acted and written on stuff that's pretty grounded, that
Yes.
doesn't really delve too fantastical. And so it was nice to be able to sort of, stretch, or like spread my wings a little bit and get to um, engage in fantasy in a way that you don't necessarily get access to if you're doing a multi-camera or single camera sitcom. And yeah, that's certainly the best part. It really gave me room to just expand into not just the boys universe, but like to add weird stuff and flourishes like the cat ear, like the cat the cat vibes, I guess you'd say, the feline
Yes.
attributes. Yeah, letting that something as sort of weird and ancillary as that bleed into the story.
But it still feels so you in so many ways. I mean, that Dua Lipa needle drop, I was just like, who put this in here? This was for me, I think. It was great. So I love seeing those little elements added in. Did you have much influence over the animation style, or did you write the script and they're like, this is what we're going to do for the style?
I was mostly they're choosing the animation style, and I think the Dua Lipa song was, I think it was like a placeholder, because I was like, wait, are we gonna actually like get to use a Dua Lipa song, which was so rad. At this point, it's like working in the shows that I have, like you really have to be resourceful, at least, with when it comes to like music cues and what you can license. And the idea that I could write something with a Dua Lipa song and it was like striking gold, but also made me a happy gay guy too, for sure.
Well, absolutely. I mean, that's something I loved about this was there was still, I love the boys, but this had such a camp slash queer appeal to it, which I think
Yeah.
is missing from the show. And I'm really glad you were able to add that in. Was that something you intentionally wanted to be like, all right, I love the boys, but I want to make this a bit more camp for everyone?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, my sister and I came up with the story together, and obviously as like siblings, but also like creative partners who collaborate a lot. We veer towards that just by nature of being who we are. We just are, and so it just made it very easy to engage in something that felt a little bit more campy, a little left of center. And obviously, the boys universe really indulges in that to begin with, but getting to add something that felt a little queer, a little like queer coded, I guess,
Mhm.
if you will. Yeah, that was definitely, if it wasn't like an inherent thing that I wanted to do, it just sort of came naturally anyway. But I'm
Mhm.
glad that I could, inject a little bit of something queer or queer adjacent into the universe.
Well, you're one of my favorite things. It's like sneaky queer stuff where
Yeah,
people like straight dudes could be like, "Oh, I didn't pick up on any of it," but we're like, "Oh no, you
we
were
see.
speaking to us." No,
Yes, we
but
see you.
this also had such a fun over the top element, but it was so grounded in such a actual hard hitting and very truthful story. Was that something you and your sister wanted to include? Of like, we can have as much blowing heads up fun, but also like, I want to tell a real
Yeah,
story.
a little bit of a Yeah, for sure. Definitely wanted to. I think we started with the idea of like how to draw something fantastical enough to engage with in an animated platform that still felt real, that still felt grounded, and the performative nature of social media is so exhausting and so at this point like all consuming that it's not a hot take to be like, you know, everyone's fake or whatever, you know, like that's not a hot take anymore.
Yeah.
But being able to go to the lengths that we did, you know, and like really stretch out the story into this place that's just nuts, that's just so crazy that only the boys could indulge in it, you know, that was sort of that was the end goal. And choosing something that felt grounded and real to us, I think it just came naturally. It wasn't even I guess I don't think that either of us are particularly interested in going in starting at the most wild place, because the comedy that we write both together and separately tends to come from some sense of reality. And so getting to do that and then bring it into a literal like comic book world, you know, was really really fun. And it was, I guess, semi-intentional, but hopefully the commentary made a bigger, you know, I'm glad to hear that you think that the commentary landed in that way.
Oh, absolutely. I think we all struggle with the body image, but also the social media aspect. It really was hard hitting. I was like laughing, but also going, "Oh shit, this feels way too real," which is, I
It's
think, is
really
my
yeah,
favorite type of humor.
that's it. And you know, there is an element of I don't know, it's very frustrating to try and wrap my head around social media, even though like, you know, I'm a native, I'm in it, I engage. It's kind of a necessary evil as a performer. But I feel like the performative nature of it has gotten so big so quickly. You
Mhm.
know, it really didn't need, there really wasn't much gestation time before Instagram went from, you know, pictures of like brunch to these like full-blown careers based on like self, you know, bloated self-esteem or
Yeah.
like faux professions, you know, at this point that it's like it's so exhausting that this just felt like a nice exercise in catharsis.
Yeah, like me learning HTML to make a MySpace to where we are with Instagram, I'm truly blown away by it as
Too
well.
much, it's too much to even wrap your head around.
Yeah.
So hopefully this, you know, this episode like got yeah got
It was cathartic in a way.
brought up something for you, but it didn't, you know, send you into a full blown
Yes.
existential crisis.
Now, my fun final question, is there a superpower you would love to have? I think we've all been asked this or thought this before. Is there a superpower you would like?
I have a weird obsession, or I've always had a weird fascination with this is so like I think they call it like Web 3.0 or whatever, but like orbs. Like I love orbs, and
Okay.
I would love to be able to just like create orbs and just like I guess use them as an attack, but maybe I'm not even thinking, maybe not so much about attack or magic power, just the ability to like create orbs and light would be so rad.
That was the most hippie crystal girl
I
answer you
know.
could have given me, and I love it
So
so
woo
much.
woo. So woo woo. Yeah.
Well,
Orbs.
Elliot, thank you so much for speaking with me today. It's been
My pleasure.
a big honor, and I loved this episode. Out of all of them, this was one of my favorites. So thank you for speaking with me.
Oh, thanks. It's so nice of you to say that. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. I hope you have a good rest of your press day.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.